Arriving in one of the most ridiculous packages I'd ever seen. Here we have the awesome Nexus. Yep, it's a squashed hand grenade alright, but let's continue on and discover why the action was as potentially explosive as its packaging. The original Nexus game was to be programmed by Beyond and looked a lot different to this. However, as they were taken over by BT, the programmers Paul Voysey and Teo Olowu then decided to set up their own company. Beyond bosses Bill Delaney and Clive Bailey decided to go with them, and a new software company was born, and they called it Nexus. You play the role of a journalist working on the Clarion newspaper. Your editor tells you,
"A friend of yours was investigating a drugs racket in Colombia. We've just heard he's been kidnapped by the drugs baron. I want you to go down there, get him out, and get me a scoop story."
So here we go, a game set within the drug ring's Colombian headquarters. A massive complex of rooms, lifts and passages. Nexus is an undercover group trying to break the drugs ring from the inside and will supply you with vital skills, weapons and sometimes, more importantly, information. The top fifth of your screen shows the section of corridor or room you are currently in, with all of the action taking place here. Beneath, you will see a plethora of message panels, direction indicators, pictures and maps.
Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
Reminiscent of the awesome Impossible mission, the game's strategy is a classic search and solve type, with a bit of kung fu style fighting thrown in for good measure. You turn to face a fitting or a piece of furniture, then search it for vital clues. The briefing manual contains 32 questions, the answers to which are split into 4 parts and scattered about the building. When you have collected some information, you will then need to find an editing terminal to read the answers, and a transmitting terminal to send the answers back to your editor. It was all very clever and innovative stuff for its time. Once you have found a camera, you can also photograph rooms and people and transmit these back for extra points. The personnel terminals can be used to examine the files of any of the Nexus agents, and you can match their photo to their particular skills, such as forgery or armaments. While in a corridor, you will meet up with guards who will try to stop you unless you have a valid pass. Nexus agents are recognisable by their pictures, which appear on the screen while the character is in sight. All your movements are controlled by the joystick, but the control system is rather complicated. You can walk, run, do forward and backward rolls, flying kicks and punches. Weapons include stun guns and stun grenades and can be selected with the fire button while standing still. To help you, a large part of the screen is used to display icons showing your current actions. A side elevation of the whole building can be called up at any time, and a flashing spot indicates your position. Getting around is still a problem though. Certain lifts only go to certain floors, and you might well be attacked whilst waiting for one. The game concludes when you have freed your friend and escaped via the subterranean river by which you first entered the building, and your score depends on how many answers and photographs you get. The fighting looked a little jerky, I agree, and the moves were unresponsive at times, but I can honestly look beyond all these little quibbles. Being just a reporter, you were no Bruce Lee either, so you had to think carefully as to whether you wanted to go ahead and fight someone or make a run for the elevator, which added to the fun, outrunning the bad guys. If you managed to get someone on the floor, you had to somersault onto their head to kill them, but miss once and the chances are they'd just get back up and beat your ass. Even with the stun gun, you had to be careful with your timing. Get beaten badly enough and you went to the base prison, hoping it wasn't going to be game over. Nexus is great, I love it. Once I learnt to ignore the fact it came in such a stupid cassette box, I really get pure nostalgic vibes with this one. Many out there may give up with this game early, due to the sluggish style of action and the sheer amount of rooms you need to visit, but I remember clearly back in the day, when time was of no importance. I just loved the exploration aspect. In a way, it does remind me of Impossible Mission, I suppose, but for some reason, I also get shades of Saboteur too. The game does feel a little buggy and flickery in places though, which is a shame, and some moves like the flying kick were next to useless. As a kid, thinking about it, I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but it was, and still is, great fun. But only if you have the patience. Thanks for watching guys, what did you think of Nexus? Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and please, if you remember this game, then let me know your memories in the comment section. Did you seek out the forger to make you a code card? Or be given the location of weapons by finding the gunnery expert? It was all part of the fun from this great game. There's plenty more games just like this on the channel playlist. And if you're one of those that are really loving these nostalgic memories, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. And until then, bye for now.
You